Hello, Tide fans. Welcome to Tide Talk. I'm your host, Sean Taylor, here with my regular, Maurice Booth.
As opposed to the irregular.
That's right.
So,
still keep Jimmy and his family in your prayers and thoughts. He is, as we mentioned on the show last week, his wife had COVID-19. She was tested positive, and then I think Jimmy started, feeling some symptoms. So I don't know that he's tested positive yet, but I know he's still out. So if you guys will remember Jimmy. But Maurice, Sean? Another SEC championship. Shall we digress? Another SEC championship.
Yes, it is.
But hey, look, what a really good game to watch. I mean, a really good football game to watch.
Define that.
Well, it was a little more exciting. We were anticipating an absolute beatdown. And granted, early on, it looked like it was going to be that.
And it should have been.
And it should have been. But, hey, I'm going to tell you, we talked about it a couple times on text. I thought Florida made some adjustments at halftime. And it didn't look like we made some good adjustments. Now, I'm speaking mainly defensively.
Yes.
We had some struggles. I thought they did a really good job using their matchups. Nick Saban talked about it. We were going to have a hard time matching up Pitts, Tony. And early on, I thought we did pretty good with Pitts. At one point, he had 2 catches for 24 yards.
That's correct. I was just watching before we got here.
Yeah, I thought we did a really good job with him. And of course, offensively, I don't think that we're ever out of a game offensively. No. But there were a couple times that they got some stops or we stopped ourselves and It kept them in the ball game. And so that's what I mean. That game was a little bit more exciting than we anticipated.
It was more exciting. I always look at it, and I'm not a coach. You've been a coach, so I've coached youth football and so forth, but I've never coached at the high school level. But I understand it being a former player as far as being magnified as far as every little thing under the microscope, so to speak. So I look at it, usually some of the best analysts are those that are on the sideline and sit in the film room and watch, which I've tried to take advantage of every chance I could. So I can't help but notice some things that just really irritate me with our team, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Why don't you tell me about it?
I don't really. Okay. And I've mentioned it, and I'm not here to, knock on Pete Golding. And
you would never do that.
No, it's unlike me. And yes, I am wearing a new cologne. But we're talking about the Tide defense. And so I don't really appreciate the scheme. It's a little bit passive and not attacking. The glaring thing that I was watching just earlier today, the number one thing is technique in the secondary. I think that those are stellar athletes, but they need to spend, in my opinion, and not knocking any specific coach by any means, but they need to spend more time on individual drills. They're very athletic. However, they are getting lost or they're losing sight of the ball and the receiver as they play it. They need to spend, that's in my opinion, I think they need to spend so much more time on man-on-man drills as far as covering, especially deep. They are allowing their feet to get tangled up. They're not looking back for the ball. And when they do look back, a lot of times, they're losing their balance. They're losing position on the receiver. And so with that, that's where I think that Tony and Pitts in the second half made some plays. And that's really the only thing that was killing us, in my opinion. Now, there were a couple times, Trask, believe it or not, had some decent runs. We're losing containment on the outside.
Yeah, but let me just, his decent runs were mostly inside the 10 when they were trying to score. He had a few where he was trying to pick up a first down.
Right. And he did.
And I agree. I just think that, when you're trying to get 3 yards and you're 240 pounds as a 6'5", 240 as a quarterback.
I got no problem with that, but you can't, as the defensive end, if you allow the tackle or tight end to get to your outside shoulder, you lost containment. Now you're putting pressure on the corner or safety or whoever's playing up, because the linebacker's not going to have a chance to really get over there and make a play. And that's another thing. I think Dylan Moses, as somebody on our group text, he's just getting caught up in the plays too many times.
Yeah, I noticed that a couple times.
So outside of that, that's the only thing that really irks me when I watch us. But there's other things that I absolutely love, and they're freshmen. Well,
listen, I'm going to tell you, Maurice, I made a couple of comments. Look, there were numerous times we played almost perfect coverage. Almost perfect. And I say almost because they make a play.
Yes, that's the problem I have. If I'm covering you and I'm right on your back hip, it does me no good if I don't get a hand up or if I fall down, which we did twice. So
I thought we did it more than that, to be honest.
Well, I'm talking about there were a couple of one-on-one situations where we just fell, and that's what I mean. We need to work on a little bit of agility. Can never leave your feet, especially as a DB, and that's just where I see some glaring.
Yeah, I mean, I made the statement. There are several times that we're playing really good coverage. We're playing really good defense. And they just made the perfect throw and the perfect catch. I'll say this specifically.
Tough word.
The touchdown right there at the end of Pitts.
Yeah.
I mean, we really have 2 guys, front, backside branch, goes up maybe a little early, but he's outmanned. Pitts is 6'6". He may have went up a little early, but man, the ball was thrown. I get that, because to me, Pitts is an absolutely beautiful receiver. Oh yeah.
I mean, he's going to probably be the first one taken. He reminds me a little bit of Metcalf with Seattle, and just his body.
Just his size. He's a specimen.
He's not as muscular as Metcalf, but he ain't far behind, and he can make a play.
Yeah.
I mean, when the ball's up in the air, he's going for it.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking our DBs like on that play that you're referring to, because they're in position, and it's hard to make. I mean, a stud's is going to ball out, and he
Devonta
did.
Smith.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think there are some things that we certainly can take from that game and improve on.
We better, because let's go back to Clemson, Levi Stadium, and I watched the post game that night. I couldn't let it go. Not to mention all the Georgia fans were, for some reason, texting me, and it's like, did y'all play tonight? And no, you didn't, so shut up. Anyway, I digress again. Coach Saban, after that game, it was a different look that I've ever seen from him. It was like, hey, look, it was my fear all year, and they exposed it. And they basically, Dabo and I guess Chad Morris was OC at the time. I can't remember. But they saw our weaknesses on defense and then the secondary, and they exposed it. So, I'm being overly critical now, because in 10 days,
it's going to happen again.
Everybody's 0-0.
Sure.
So, you better address it now in whatever article you're reading about how great you are and what an All-American you are. You better put that to the side until later on in January.
Yeah, a different season in 10 days. Really a different season.
It's a brand new season.
I agree 100%. We got a lot to talk about. Still some things I want to discuss with respect to the defense. Again, man, great game by the offense. We got some things to talk about. Let's take a quick break. On behalf of Bob English and State Farm, hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Enjoy the good times a little more with the right plan. As your State Farm agent, I am here to help you protect your dreams and loved ones with life insurance. With over 60 years combined State Farm experience, call me or any of my team to find out which options are best for you. Another way, we're here to help life go right.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans. Maurice, we were just talking about it at the break. We were talking a little bit.
What?
Yes, your hair looks good.
It does, doesn't it? Thank you.
It does. Hey, what about my vest, by the way?
That is
Hey,
sweet.
with
I didn't know you went to Columbia.
Old School 13.
You know, I never
Four
buy.
more since then.
I never buy a
'Cause we
national
keep
champion.
getting
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
That's right.
I get an alumni sticker that says 15 or 16. I'm like, man, this thing's gonna be outdated in a few months. Anywho,
So Maurice, I in the game, I text you guys saying that's really the first time that I thought Dylan Moses appeared to be lost.
I don't think it's lost. It's just so everybody thinks playing linebacker is all right. Defensive line, keep them off of me, and I'll run them.
Right, it's not.
Nah, I mean, because he has to step up, and a lot of times whenever he steps up, there could be a guard pulling, there could be another back coming at you, H-back or whatever. But now you're getting caught up where you're filling a gap. If he wasn't there, there'd be a hole.
Right.
So now you get a little bounce out. He's trapped in there. He can't get out. It's a catch-22. Now, it doesn't happen so much to Christian Harris as much, but he just looks really good.
Yeah.
I think I think that's why you see Harris on the Butkus list. And I'm not knocking Moses. I love him, and I can't thank him enough for coming back. And he is the, kind of the
Field general. He's the field general on the defensive side.
he's the pillar right there.
Yeah.
So.
I just thought that there were a few times, Maurice, that there were several times that he was looking to the side, almost like early in the year. It was like he was unsure. Now, was that a direct reflection of what Florida was doing with some of their motions, with some of their movement, with bringing Pitts, into that tight end spot and then sliding him out, running? They were sending the running back out wide, and Moses was having to cover him.
I saw that, and he had two pass interferences.
Two pass interferences.
Which I would rather get a PI than touchdown.
I was trying to explain it all night. Melissa, my girlfriend, sitting there going, "What is he doing?" I'm like, "If he don't do that, it's a touchdown."
Right.
So
right.
we'd rather give up the 15 yards.
It's like the foul in basketball. Foul him so they don't score.
That's right.
That's not a big deal. But, you as an OC, you do everything you can to create mismatches like that by getting a linebacker either on a very fast running back or, it's a dream come true if you had a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't think that Dylan was lost. I'm going to go back to where it starts. If the player's not ready or confused, it is a coach's job and responsibility to make sure that they are prepared. I'll tell you a real quick funny story. Bill Parcells was doing a speech one time, and he said his first job as far as an assistant coach was a JV coach at Army, and he had worked on a player about a specific play that was coming their way. He said he worked with him, and they get in the game, and the other team runs it on him and gets a lot of yards, and he comes over to the sideline, and he chooses a player. Head coach comes over and says, "Hey, that's enough." He says, "No, I've coached him on this. He let hit." He said, "Well, obviously you didn't coach him enough." Boom.
Right.
So
That's right.
Golding, that's your responsibility. It starts with you.
You think that had anything to do with that conversation on the sideline where they showed at one time? We were talking about it at the break.
Look, Saban used to get in the ear of Jeremy Pruitt, who I think is probably the best defensive strategist going today. And so, I think
I think that had a lot to do with it. I think he
wears a different size pants.
It was right after the 3rd and 17 where they converted, and
I'm always worried about those plays because Saban's going to blow a gasket, and somebody that you're related to is going to probably, break a television. So
I think he had to go purchase a new one after this weekend. I think Sheriff Taylor was not very pleased with what happened.
Okay.
But you know what, Maurice? We're talking like we lost a football game. At the end of the day, we won another SEC championship, and I'm going to tell you a lot of that has to do with, as you mentioned before the break, a lot of good freshman play.
Oh, God.
I mean,
I love our chances.
Dude, Anderson is,
Chris Allen, Will Anderson.
If the guy stays 4 years, which we don't see that happening, but man, what kind of numbers is he going to have?
It's I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but you can't help but think about next year, even though we're not out of this year. Defensively, I was like, that's a good group.
Oh my gosh,
that's a lot of good players.
I mean, that kid, he made a play, caused a fumble, picked it up. They go over to the sideline and they pan and they show him without his helmet, and I was like, that kid right there is 18, may have just turned 19. I mean, he looks like a grown man.
Yeah.
And like you said, man, Allen, those two guys, it reminds me back when it was Curry and Copeland.
Yeah.
The two guys off the edge are just really, really good.
And we haven't mentioned Tim Smith.
I mean, Tim Smith comes in and looks like a junior or senior.
Yeah, it's like he's always shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
He's so fast.
I mean, so really impressed with the guys up front. We've been talking a lot about that over the last few weeks, just about how that front seven has started developing more and more, because earlier in the year we were a little concerned about, how that looked, right, and no pressure and that sort of thing. When we wanted to get pressure, we got pressure. We made Trask do some different stuff.
This is another thing I'm talking about schematic-wise. When we came off the corner with a blitz that was disguised last second, and those were good calls because you had them outnumbered on one side by coming up. And Trask didn't recognize it in time, and he would get sacked or hurried or whatever. But when he was sending a delayed blitz, sometimes it was delayed, it was, I guess, basically a read by Moses. If it's a straight drop back, you go. And it's like, he's already got 5 yards to make up. Now he's running 10 yards. That's right. Plenty, and you're coming right at me. I got plenty of time to get rid. So it's really a wasted blitz. You're leaving the middle open because he's coming across. And, I just didn't see the point of it. I love blitzes. But I love blitz packages.
Yeah.
I love disguises.
Right.
Unless you're going to send everybody, and one time we did, and we got a pass interference on Surtain, I believe. I can't remember exactly. But everybody came, and of course, as you know, when you send everybody, you're going to have to be a man-to-man.
Right, that's right.
So
I just think that man, what a great job. What a great turnaround from that front seven. I mean,
oh, yeah.
And man, the depth, it is just starting to show, and it's starting to have its impact. And I think, man, that it's going to be really critical. As we said, new season coming up.
Right.
All things being considered, it's a new season. And man, I think we are in really good shape, with that front seven.
And I think the front guys are really starting to respond to Freddie Roach. Who we've mentioned a few times.
A little bit more time.
Yep, and I think he relates well to the players, former player, linebacker. But really, they seem to be responding. A lot of rotation, a lot of unselfishness, and a lot of support from each other.
Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing that. And heck, man, we hadn't even talked about, as we said on the break, and we really have 3 guys that could be Heisman Trophy winners. When you break it down, Najee Harris, SEC record, Mac Jones, SEC record, Devonta Smith, SEC record. It just seems like every week there's another record being broken.
Right.
And man, when you talk about the SEC, we're not talking about, no disrespect to any other conference. We're talking about the cream of the crop, in the SEC championship game. And so, gosh, I never really worried from an offensive perspective. I felt like we could score. You and I talked about that. Yeah. You felt like we could. They wouldn't be able to stop us if we needed to score. We could, and we did. But man, you can't say enough about what Sarkisian's doing, minus Waddle, with Devonta Smith and with Najee Harris. The Joker catches 3 touchdown passes, which was another SEC record, by the way.
Yeah.
It just seems like he finds a way, and Mac Jones is delivering.
Personally, I believe, and we're kind of texting it, and I posed it to some college friends as far as these three. I love Devonta. I think Mac, even though I said he was going to be pretty good. Actually, I did
We'll
not.
make sure we go back to that first.
I did. I didn't think by any means that I think he would be completing 75% of his passes, which is phenomenal. But my opinion, my humble opinion, this offense only really works with Najee. If he's not there to pick up the yards in former defensive player, no, I don't want to tackle.
Right.
He comes at you hard and he's fast.
Yeah.
And he's got exceptional hands out of the backfield.
That's just another threat. Something else you got to worry about as a DC.
Exactly. So I'm always, ever since, Peyton Manning didn't win the award, it's always been questionable how they judge it. So my opinion, just look at the numbers that Najee has. Of course, now I saw a notification just right before the show. Devonta Smith is the odds-on favorite to it, which I love him, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, this is a kid that came back, could have gone pro, wanted to come back to prove something, and then not for himself, for the team.
For the team, yeah.
And now look at what he's reaping, just incredible accolades and awards, and well-deserved.
Yeah.
And, I mean, some of his catches are highlight reels. That one at LSU.
ESPYs.
Phew.
ESPYs.
Did you see when they did the diagram as far as the distance, how far he jumped?
Yeah, 10.5 feet. Could have dunked the basketball.
Yeah, but he's jumping backwards.
Right.
And the coolest thing is his dad's in the picture.
Yeah, so. I mean, man, again, we're gonna talk some more about that, but we could go on and on. Let's take a quick break. Let's come back and break down the offense, talk about them a little bit before we get into the playoff game with Notre Dame. So hold your seats, Tide fans. On behalf of Bob English and State Farm, we'll be right back with Tide Talk.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries, and home and auto insurance from State Farm. So make it a combo. Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Just call me, Bob English, or any of my experienced hometown team and find out how you could start saving today. It's just another way.
Welcome back.
Go ahead.
No.
Bring us back.
Welcome back, Tide fans, to Tide Talk with Sean Taylor. I'm the humble Maurice Booth. Sean.
That was pretty good. Take it away.
No, you got it. I was looking at the wrong camera anyway.
So,
Just
Maurice, talking about the offense, talking about Smitty, Najee Harris, Mac Jones. I think we said just not long ago, I agree with you. I think the offense runs through Najee. I think the play action is such a powerful tool for us, just because you got to respect the run, and you got to put enough in the box to be able to stop the run, especially with that offensive line. You have to have enough in the box to do that, but then the play action is so dangerous with Smitty. And again, we're not even including Waddle in the picture. That just makes it even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the best athletes, the most prolific in the country, and then he gets hurt. But yeah.
I dare to say that if Waddle wasn't injured, he would still be doing what he's doing. He would be way up in the Heisman discussion.
Without a doubt.
Especially on punt return.
Punt return, kickoff return. Look, the first part of the season where he's making phenomenal catches, catching balls in traffic. I actually remember talking specifically about the balls that he's catching in traffic.
Yeah.
Just sacrificing his body.
The kid's what, 5'10"?
That's pushing it.
And he's got jumps. The Iron Bowl last year where he jumped over or above the Auburn defender and made an incredible play.
Yeah, I just have to say, former quarterback, I coached quarterbacks. Man, I'm not either way. Smitty can get it. Mac Jones can win the Heisman. Najee Harris, for that matter. But man, I'd really like to see Mac Jones, just because, you think about it. We're losing, Tua, and everybody's like, Lord, what's the offense going to look like?
Right.
Right. And then, if you remember, we lose Waddle And David Pollock says Bama's done.
He said Bama takes a serious step back.
I mean, and here we are.
All right.
We're in the conversation. We're the number one team in the country. We are winning another SEC championship. Mac Jones, as you said, 75% completion rate, highest quarterback rating in the country this year. I mean, man, I just hope for his sake that he gets an opportunity to,
I think so. I don't. I want to save it for another show as far as who's coming back and so forth. I think he should have another opportunity, but the receivers sometimes make the quarterback look great. Devonta has done that.
Yeah.
Not that those are bad throws, because Mac is probably putting them, hey, look, this is the only place I can put it.
Yeah.
And
where nobody else can get to it.
Exactly. And I know you can, because we've done it in practice. And I know you got the jumps. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it there. So.
Well, you heard the conversation, the post-game interview. They're talking to Mac Jones, and he said, we just got this little secret kind of rule. And that is, Devonta Smith tells him, just throw it somewhere in bounds. That was their kind of little secret rule. And he said, if you throw it out of bounds, I can't get to it. But if you throw it somewhere in bounds, I can get to it.
Keep it in play.
Yeah, and so that's right. I mean, without a doubt, a lot of times receivers make quarterbacks look good. But I will also tell you that, man, he has been so spot on. Numerous passes. I go back to the Kentucky game, maybe the best pass I've seen him throw all year, where he's, rolling left and he shuffles his feet and throws an absolute missile, the only spot it could be thrown.
So your vote, if you got to vote, it would be Mac first?
If my vote, I would say Mac Jones. I'm not saying that Devonta Smith's not a...
No, but as a Heisman voter,
I would vote Mac Jones.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I would vote Mac Jones.
Okay.
And here's my reasoning behind it real quick. It's not just about throwing the football. It's about you're the coach of the offense on the field, and you have to be able to manage all of it. You got to make the right check. You got to get them in the right formations. You've got to, know where everyone is supposed to be. You can see numerous times where he's bringing running backs and putting them here, or putting them in the pistol, or he's sliding guys. He has to do everything. No offense, receivers got to know what route he's running, and he's got to make plays.
Yeah. But he's making.
That's right.
The play.
Again, I wouldn't be disappointed if any of them won it.
Right.
I just think, when you start looking, when it gets that close, you got to really, really get the microscope out and see. And I think that, man, quarterbacks have a lot on their plates.
And, the Heisman isn't awarded until January the 5th. However, today, Monday, December 21st is cut off.
Yeah.
So that's why we're kind of discussing it, because it probably just ended a few minutes ago as far as getting your votes in. But
so going into playoffs, Maurice, I was reading and you were telling me, I read an article, we were talking about Notre Dame, Alabama, the history there, just all of the big games that have been played. And currently Notre Dame has, the series. It's, we're 2-5 against Notre Dame all time. I think now the last two times we've played, we've won. And you said that was 96 when it was Cornelius.
86.
86 when it was Cornelius Bennett, the sack. That's all over the place.
Steve Berline.
Steve Berline. And, of course, 2012, the national championship game
in Miami.
Just.
Did you go to that one?
I didn't.
I didn't.
42-13.
I did watch it on television.
It was over before it started.
Well, remember Coach Kelly's comments? We got a chance if they don't come out in the second half.
Yeah.
Which I heard he was negotiating for just one half of football for the playoff.
Yeah.
We're just going to play one half and we're out of here.
That's right. I think he has a little bit more confidence this year. He talked a lot about how since that game and since trying to compete against a team like Alabama, the physicality. I read an article that he talked a lot about the physicality up front on both offense and defense, that they were much more physical. And so that'll be interesting to see, us playing them again.
It will be interesting to see how physical they are as we run right by them. Anyway.
So you're already thinking that that's going to be
I think that we and Clemson and maybe Ohio State are way too fast for Notre Dame.
Yeah. Has that always been the case, though, it seems, Maurice? I mean,
outside of 1988 with Notre Dame with Lou Holtz, he had a pretty fast team, and they won the Natty that year. But yeah, I hate to tell them, they're still 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
They love their offensive line. Ian Book is a great quarterback. However, as I was telling somebody the other day, Notre Dame, I'm not trying to jinx us, but Notre Dame hadn't had a wide receiver threat since
Tim Brown.
Golden Tate, who's still, that's one. Yeah, before that would be Tim Brown.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I say they're slow and methodical, in my opinion.
Yeah, but if you listen to Kelly, he believes that's their plan. They want to ground and pound. They want to keep our offense off the field.
No, so would I.
And he believes that they're physical enough to do that up front.
Yeah.
They're physical enough to run the football. That's kind of his philosophy. As though it seems going into this game, that's kind of what they're looking at doing.
Right. And that's pretty much the best thing to do is keep us off the field and try to ground and pound it on us. But good luck.
Be a challenge for our defense just from a physical perspective. We've got I think we're where we should be. We got a lot of guys that's got a lot of experience to this point, but as you said, it's a different season. Preparation now, Christmas is coming up and all of that conversation. Do they go home or do they not go home? And
well, I did see Coach Saban in an interview yesterday morning. He said, I don't have the heart to keep them here.
Right.
So they'll go home for 2 days.
Let them go home for a couple days.
And just make sure that, hey, don't get around a bunch of people.
Boy, that's another conversation in itself. I was reading, Brian Kelly said he wasn't sending his guys home. They couldn't risk it.
Right.
It'll
be interesting. I don't think that many, since we have so many players from out of state, I can't, the number, it's a fluctuating number, how many players we have coming. So as far as driving distance, actually flying somewhere is, it's just as good just to stay here instead of going through all the trouble.
Yeah.
And Coach Saban usually, I don't know what's going to happen this year, but usually has players over at his house for either Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. So I haven't gotten an invite, but it sounds good. So
well, it's definitely going to be a challenge considering all those things. Holiday preparation,
And like I was texting
COVID.
y'all, I said, yesterday or day before, we've only got 11 days because it used to be you had a month.
Right.
Or 5 weeks. So as far as coaches preparing, players healing, studying film.
Smaller time frame, smaller window.
We've gone to, as Dabo and Coach Saban said, this is basically a bye week. We're treating it as a bye week.
That's right.
So you don't have as much time to prepare, but more importantly, little nicks and bruises.
Yeah, you mentioned Forrestall.
Yeah.
He's a little banged up.
That ankle is still bothering me.
Unfortunately, we'll be without Landon Dickerson, which, man, huge. I won't say huge blow. It is a huge blow. The leadership that he brings. He's the coach of the offensive line. But I will tell you, fortunately for us, Chris Owens has had plenty of experience, and he'll be stepping in. He's a returning senior. So I feel really good about that. He's not Landon Dickerson, but as I said, he's played it. He started numerous times last year. He's played a lot of games this year. Got a lot of reps against Florida. So it's not like he just plays mop-up roles. He is experienced, and I feel pretty good about that.
We've had some shuffling on the offensive line. He's got experience, so we feel pretty good about that. Of course, I thought, Dickerson was going to, be a Remington finalist. He still could be. I mean, heck, he got hurt
in the last game.
Yeah. So, but you hate it.
Agreed. All right, so we open as a 17.5-point favorite. Let's go ahead and make some predictions. It's prediction time.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that, I think it's jumped to 20.
19.5 today.
So I just don't see them scoring that much on us. I like Ian Book. I think he's a heck of an athlete. He's a better quarterback than Bo Nix, but athletically they're pretty equal.
Yeah, I agree.
And
That's a good comparison.
And he's a strong kid too. But our defensive line may be, after the game, feel like they've been in a battle because their offensive line is big, and they're strong, and so it's going to, they're going to feel it. But luckily, we're going to shuffle. So I would say, I just don't think it's possible to really stop our offense. 45-17.
45-17. We have 4 games in a row. Well, not 4 games in a row. 4 games this year we scored 50-plus points.
Yeah.
I don't think that changes.
Right.
I think that we potentially are a 48-plus, 50-plus scoring a game again. I don't see them being able to stop us.
Right.
I don't see – the only thing that is they're really going to – if that's their mindset, they're going to try to slow the game down. They're going to try to ground and pound. I think that maybe that fits their style. They play a lot of double tight ends.
Yeah.
They have they boast about their tight end play and how big and strong they are. I just see our defense and our defensive front being faster and stronger, and I think that'll ultimately wear them.
I think so.
And I think we'll have a 5th game of 50-plus points.
You'll see something similar to what Clemson did.
I think it'll be 49-13, something like that. I think they may score, they may kick a field goal. I don't think it'll be a lot.
Right.
So, good game. Can't wait to see it happen. Can't wait to see if Notre Dame has actually progressed like they believe they have. I love it because, the last memory I have is us beating the Eddie Lacy spin move and just really, really,
knocking them off.
just wearing them out in the national championship game. So I look forward to that. And
the most exciting thing of that was A.J. McCarron and Barrett Jones getting into it.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that. That's true. So Maurice, again, we'll come back next week. Let's see. Well, you know what, guys? We won't see you before the holidays.
Right.
So Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas. And Sean, I hate to bring up a sad note, but I just got a text or notification. Our most sincere condolences go out to the Auburn family on the loss of Kevin Green. He just passed away. I hate that. He was a walk-on at Auburn, good friend of a couple of my friends that played there. So our condolences.
Yep, condolences go out to the Auburn family. But yeah, so we will be back after the break. We'll have another show prior to the January 1 playoff game.
Right.
But other than that, guys, hope you have a Merry Christmas. Be with your families, and we'll see you again on Tide Talk. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.